Good morning, everyone. It is Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day. And in today's video, we're going to be going over these severe weather threats, and we're even going to be talking about each area of the United States. And that mainly includes the eastern United States, but we might be talking about a few other areas as well. And we'll do that in a second. But first of all, we're going to first start off with all the severe weather stuff, and that includes the excessive rainfall outlook, even the hazards issued by the Climate Prediction Center, and as well as the travel impacts due to snowfall. But first of all, we're going to start off with your severe weather threat for today. And as you see, we do have a marginal risk issued for just Florida, pretty much for Orlando, Florida, getting into St. Petersburg, and then up to through Orlando. This also includes Fort Lauderdale too as well. I know it's not down here, but these are just the populated cities in these marginal risks. But this even includes Tampa as well. So those areas will also have to be very aware of some severe weather today. And if we look at the hazards, okay, we just have a tornado threat and a wind threat. Tornadoes may be a possibility, especially in the western part of Florida, mainly across Tampa, St. Petersburg, getting into Clearwater, back through Spring Hill, and then into Lakeland, Florida. So those areas will also have to be aware of some tornadoes and as well as damaging winds. The wind threat includes the entire marginal risk. So make sure to keep that in mind that we are seeing a threat for severe weather today throughout most of Florida. It just doesn't include the extreme southern portion of Florida and even the northern portion of Florida, mainly just the central part of it. And now, for your day 2 outlook, as you see, no severe weather, just isolated general risks for thunderstorms. And then on day 3, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, where we finally have a big threat for severe weather across portions of the south. This heads from Houston, heading into Mobile, and then back through New Orleans. This is something we have to really keep an eye on, and we even have more than just those cities, guys. We even have Baton Rouge, and we even have Panama City. So those areas will also have to watch very closely as well. And this slight risk is pretty much just shy of Alexandria. Besides, I think it includes the southern part of it. So if you live in southern Alexandria, I would still be aware and keep an eye on a couple of severe thunderstorms as we head from Monday into Tuesday. So this outlook is from Monday into Tuesday. So keep that in mind if you do have any plans for Monday and Tuesday down here to the south, because that's when that severe weather threat will be. And then on day 4, okay, on day 4, we actually do have another significant risk for severe weather across the Carolinas, heading into portions of the southeast and as well as Florida. Again, this is going to also be kind of extreme too as well. And I mean, Florida's already seen a threat for severe weather today, and then on day 4, which is going to be from Tuesday into Wednesday, now they have to deal with significant severe weather. So they're dealing with both significant and minor severe weather, or even marginal severe weather. So I mean, it's something that Florida does have to deal with quite a bit, and I mean, they kind of did deal with it quite a bit this year, so I'm hoping it won't be as bad for this year. So that's what I'm at least hoping for with the severe weather, but we'll see about that as we head into the spring. And now, that was already done. I guess you guys were kind of wondering why that happened, but I mean, we're already done, so we don't have to worry about that. But as we do take a look at the hazards issued by the Climate Prediction Center for our temperatures, we do have a slight risk for well below average temperatures heading as far east as Indiana. There is a chance for much below average temperatures too as well. And then if we look at this one right here, okay, this one shows all the risk is. And I think that one going as far east as Indiana, that was the area that is going to see much below average temperatures, but we do have that slight risk around that area, so I would definitely be aware about that if you do live as far east as Pennsylvania. But look at this moderate risk, guys, pretty widespread actually, heads as far east as Indiana, and then even is in effect for places like the South, heading into places like all the Rocky Mountains. But we even have a high risk, guys. I was kind of surprised about this, but we even have a high risk for much below average temperatures. And if you guys are wondering when these are in effect, these are in effect till January 19th, so pretty much anywhere from the 13th of January and continuing through the 19th of January. So that's when all of these hazards are in effect, including the slight risks, the moderate risks, and the high risks. Okay, so make sure to keep that in mind so you don't get upset for when these are in effect or not. But now we're going to look at your precipitation, and for the slight risks, we actually do have a chance for pretty good precipitation across the entire East Coast. And if you're wondering what this gray color is, this is actually a chance for flash flooding. Flooding possible across the entire East Coast, okay? Some of this green color is heading out of that, but most of this area is included in the green color, so yeah. And then if we look at the moderate risks, okay, as you see, we do actually have a moderate risk back here to the east, and as you see, this includes pretty much just California, but also heads into portions of Oregon. And then back over here in the East Coast, we are seeing that moderate risk for heavy rainfall, so also keep that in mind too as well. And now for your snow outlook, we do have few moderate risks for heavy snowfall. We got one up here heading from the Great Lakes region and all the way down into the Missouri Valley, and then over here into portions of California and as well as into Oregon. We are seeing another chance for very heavy snowfall, and then over here into places like Arizona, heading into New Mexico, and then into Colorado, we are even seeing a moderate risk for heavy snowfall. So 3 different areas could see very heavy snowfall, so I would definitely keep that in mind if you do live in those areas. And then the last hazards to talk about will be the wind, and as you see, very widespread almost across the entire United States. Just doesn't include this portion or even this part of the northern United States, but I mean still includes a lot of it, by the way. So very big area included in high winds, at least a chance for high winds rather, but this is also in effect from January 13th to January 9th, so make sure to keep that in mind too as well. So yeah. And now we're going to go ahead and take a look at your guys' excessive rainfall outlook. So for today, which is day 1, as you see, it's not showing the right thing, but this is the actual day 1 outlook, which is from today into Sunday. And as you see, we do have a marginal risk for flash flooding across the East Coast. This includes Long Island, heading through New York City, and then back into North Carolina. So I would definitely be aware of flash flooding there. And then if we look at day 2 outlook, which is a little bit different, as you see, there's pretty much 0% chance for flash flooding. I know it's showing that, but that was actually the day 1 outlook, so that was kind of weird that it showed it on day 2, then it should show it day 1, but we actually don't have any flash flood threat on day 1. But on day 3, it is showing a slight risk for flash flooding across the deep south, as you see right there, and even a marginal risk back here into the northwest United States. And then if we look at the last outlook, which is day 4, as you see, it actually does show the actual outlook on this finally. All the other ones weren't really right for which day they were issued for, but as you see, we do have a moderate risk issued for that. So make sure to keep that in mind if you do live in places like New Jersey, getting into portions of New York, and then back through a little bit of Pennsylvania. But in the slight risk, we'll also have to be aware too as well. And this is pretty widespread, by the way. So yeah. And then on day 5, that heads northeast, and it now includes Maine. It doesn't show a slight risk for Maine quite yet, but I believe there probably is one, or even the Weather Prediction Center might have just issued it. But I say we do have a slight risk for Maine on day 5, which is going to be from Wednesday into Thursday, and that moderate risk was actually in effect from Tuesday into Wednesday. Okay, so make sure to keep that in mind too as well. Now for your travel impacts, this is anywhere from today through through the 9th, okay? So pretty much 3 days out, which is pretty much going to be till January 9th. So anywhere from now to January 9th is when you can expect some pretty good travel impacts across the New England area. It sounds like most of these will be moderate impacts, but even a lot of these being minor too as well. It even sounds like Pennsylvania has actually seen some of those moderate impacts too as well. Philadelphia actually might have gotten quite a bit of snowfall, by the way, when it wasn't really expected to be this big of a thing, but it sounds like New York City might have gotten some snowfall, and it even sounds like Long Island might have gotten some snowfall too as well. So I mean, snowfall for Long Island heading into Pennsylvania, those areas weren't really expected to see the worst of the snowfall, but since we did see it, we will definitely have to be aware in those areas. And then back out here to the west, we are seeing more in the way of extreme impacts, and as you see back out here into Texas, heading into the Panhandle, Oklahoma, and then back to Kansas, we actually are seeing a threat for moderate risk and I might have said that in a weird way, but we actually do have moderate risk for these areas right here, and then back into places like Colorado, into Utah, and then back through portions of Arizona. Some of those areas seem to be extreme impact, or even major impact rather, but still very extreme, even though it is major. So yeah, we'll have to really watch those areas closely, okay? And then if we look at the European model, and like I said, we're going to be going over these areas, and we won't just be going over this one, we'll also be going over the southeast. And as we continue to take this forward, we start to see that snow and even that freezing rain head into places like Virginia and as well as Ohio. I'm not really sure why Ohio seemed to be seeing freezing rain, at least I wasn't expecting that, so I'm kind of surprised about that. But as we continue to take that far, we'll even see some pretty widespread freezing rain across places like West Virginia, and then as that finally heads into the New England area and back out, we will see another system move through that kind of looks to be a little bit significant, by the way. And as you see, this will bring very heavy snowfall to parts of Ohio, and then it will even head out to as well. And then we'll see another system move through. And just look at this one, guys. Actually, look at this one. This one is freezing rain, okay? Look at this ice storm. We could see an ice storm warning in effect for pretty much the entire area of Indiana getting into Illinois. And by the way, guys, the GFS model wasn't showing that, so I'm going to say there's probably a lot of uncertainty about us having a big ice storm occur in this area. But I actually kind of do trust the European model, because it is usually more in the way of accurate, and what I mean by that is it's also known as the accurate model. It gets more of the things right. But look at this, guys. This is an effect for places like Warwick County, Indiana, getting into Vanderburgh County, Indiana, and then back through Posey County, Indiana, and then pretty much an effect for all the Illinois counties, at least in the southern part of it. And then look at this, guys. We even have a little bit of it heading into Kentucky, and we might even have some isolated spots of freezing rain too as well. But as you see, that will diminish pretty fast, bringing a risk for heavy snowfall across pretty much northern Indiana, heading into mainly central Illinois. And then as that finally heads out, we'll see freezing rain across New England, and then we'll have to watch another system possibly moving through, which will be this one. This will just bring some light snow and maybe a little bit heavier snow to parts of Kentucky and as well as Illinois and Indiana, so that will also have to be something to watch closely. And if you guys are wondering when this freezing rain event will occur, as you see, we are at the 162 hour, which is all the way till January 12th. Or 12, which is about 6 days out. So, that's actually not that bad. And, we still can expect changes, even though that isn't terribly far out. But I at least expect there to be some pretty big changes across this area over here in this freezing rain area. So that includes southern Indiana into southern Illinois. So make sure to keep that in mind. And now we're going to start doing a different area. So we gotta go to the southeast, and we're going to be going over the severe weather threat, okay? And it actually sets up the areas that we're going to be talking about. And as you see, we're going to start all the way at the beginning, and we actually do have some pretty good heavy rain and storms popping up. Some of these could produce some very heavy thunder, and what I mean by that is cloud to ground lightning could be possible with some of these, and then it moves out as kind of a line of storms with kind of some freezing rain up to the north in North Carolina. And then as that finally heads out, we'll see another one move through. Look at this one, guys. This is the one that's going to propose the severe weather threat, and this is in effect from Monday into Tuesday is what I saw. So we'll see a bunch of pop-up bean storms right there. Look at all those supercells, by the way. Look, we got a bean storm there, we got a bean storm there. I like to call these bean storms because they're shaped like beans, and that's kind of what other meteorologists call them, but they are actually supercells. So a lot of these supercells could definitely produce tornadoes, damaging winds, and as well as very large hail as we head into Monday. And as we continue to take that forward, that will finally head out as a pretty big storm system. It sounds like it's going to start off as a tornado and as well as hail threat, and then it will turn into more of a damaging wind threat as we head through into Tuesday. And then as that finally heads out, that's when we'll start to see our next significant severe weather threat, which is on Tuesday into Wednesday. And as you see, it makes a very good line of storms moving across Florida, the Carolinas. Look at that line of storm move through Florida, guys. Look at that. Isn't that just crazy? So the first severe weather threat that we were talking about, which was the one heading from East Texas into the Panhandle of Florida, that will be on Tuesday, like I said, and we just get a bunch of the pop-up supercells. And then the next severe weather threat will be on Tuesday into Thursday, Tuesday into Wednesday, it will head across the Carolinas and as well as Georgia. So on Monday, we can expect a lot of pop-up supercells like this to occur, and then on Tuesday, we expect a line of storms to move through these areas. So we'll have to watch both days very closely, at least for both significant severe weather. I think the Tuesday, the Monday outlook, which will be from Monday into Tuesday, we expect that to maybe be a little bit more significant due to these supercells. So like I said, Monday into Tuesday, we expect that first severe weather threat to occur, which will be across this area into the Panhandle of Florida. And then as we head into Tuesday, we'll see this next severe weather threat occur. So I'm trying to kind of make this clear for you guys so that way you guys understand what's happening. But like I said, as we get into Tuesday, we will see that line of storms move across the south and east, which will also bring a wind, hail, and as well as tornado threat. But I think the main threat's going to be damaging wind because that's usually the main concern with lines of storms. And as we continue to take that far, we'll see another one move through, and look at that, all that freezing rain in Arkansas up there. That's going to be the freezing rain event that's also going to occur in Indiana too as well, but we already talked about that though. And then it sounds like on I mean on January 12th. Okay, January 12th, we actually get a lot of these pop-up storms too as well, which actually might be a little bit significant, guys. I mean, we could see another severe weather threat with this thing, and look, we just get a bunch pop up of these being storms and stuff like that. So we'll have to watch for another severe weather threat possibly, and then we'll have to watch for kind of a freezing rain event to occur in parts of Texas, heading through Louisiana, Arkansas, and then into Mississippi. So those are the main areas to watch for. That did include the Mid-Atlantic, New England area, and as well as the Ohio Valley, and now the Southeast will also have to be aware too as well. But we're quickly gonna go ahead and show you guys the rainfall totals, and as you guys see, pretty big area of rainfall, and if we look at that, we actually are seeing a pretty big area of at least 1 to 3 inches of rain, and just look at that, guys. Very big area, by the way. And we're going to erase that, and we're going to scroll down a little bit so we can give you guys a better view of what's happening. And then we even see another area of at least 1 to 5 inches of rainfall across this area. So we're just going to write 1 to 5 inches of rainfall across this area right here. And then even like this strip of yellow right here could definitely indicate some very heavy rainfall as well. So we'll have to watch those areas very closely. And even back here in this area right here, we actually may be seeing some heavy rainfall too as well. But other than that, pretty big area of beneficial rainfall. Just look at this one. This entire area right here seeing beneficial amounts, which it will be a pretty big concern, by the way. Beneficial amounts. We're going to put a B for that. Beneficial amounts, okay? So we'll have to watch those areas very closely, okay? So make sure to keep that in mind. And this heads all the way till, let's see, I gotta kind of scroll back up to see that, but this heads all the way until Sunday, January 14th. So make sure to keep that in mind. And that's pretty much the same thing with the total snowfall, besides we actually might be heading another day or two out, but that's not quite as a difference. And as you guys see, we actually are seeing some pretty good snowfall across Missouri, Illinois, and as well as Kansas. The European model actually is indicating some of those areas could be seeing significant snowfall, and we even got a pretty big area across the Rocky Mountains that also may see heavy snowfall. And we're going to go ahead and draw for you guys. And as you see, this whole area right here has the potential for seeing at least 1 foot of snow, okay? 1 foot of snowfall across this area right here. So that will have to be something to watch for closely. And even back into New England and as well as the Mid-Atlantic, we will also have to watch these areas for some pretty heavy snowfall, and this will also be a 1 foot of snow area too as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on both of those areas. And if you guys are wondering, will you guys see snowfall? Well, I don't really know where you guys live, but you guys can ask me if you guys will see snowfall in your city. You guys just have to leave that down in the comments, and you guys probably can do that on the other videos too if you guys want, but I'm not really concerned about that right now. But even a lot of snowfall back out here towards the Rocky Mountains too as well. This will also be a ton of snowfall for mainly this area right here. Everywhere that I drew strips could see at least over 1 foot of snowfall as well. So we'll have to watch those areas very closely. Last but not least, we're going to go over your temperatures, and as you guys see, as we continue to take this forward, we'll see quite a bit of freezing across the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, and then we will even see more in the way of freezing temperatures across quite a bit of these areas, and we will even see kind of a pretty big warm up, guys. Look at that, 60s, and even some 50s too as well. So that will be a pretty big warm up right there. And then we'll see more cold air move through, which will bring our temperatures near the teens in some areas. Look at that, 18. Look at that, 4 degrees. Wow. Okay, I'm kind of surprised about this. 18 degrees and 4 degrees, guys. That is pretty significant up there in northern Illinois. We're seeing 4 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're only heading, 156 hours out, which isn't terribly far, but as we continue to take that forward, we'll see more and more cold air move through, and whoa, guys, look at that. 8 degrees Fahrenheit across parts of southern Indiana, pretty much for the entire area of Indiana, guys. That's going to be significant. And look at that, -6 degrees in parts of central Illinois, -5 degrees in parts of central Illinois. And we could see this as we head into January. Let's see, does it say when this is in effect? I think, January 15th, okay? So I probably should have known that, but this is actually in effect till January 15th. So on January 15th, like I said, we'll see all these freezing temperatures across these areas, which will be a pretty significant cool down, and that will kind of continue across some of these areas, which will also be pretty significant too as well. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy my video. This might have been a little bit long of a video, but I still hope you guys enjoyed it. But thank you guys very much for watching, and I will keep you updated.